Welcome back. Even though my rapid rating is still hovering around just under 1200 on chess.com, I'm convinced that I'm getting better. And one thing that convinced me was that in this end game, with black to move, I already knew who was going to win, or I was pretty sure. Actually, it was on the next turn when I became convinced who was going to win, because I could count out almost everything. Now here on black's turn, black only has two options that don't lose. And black played the wrong move. Fortunately, I was not playing with the black pieces in this game. I was playing with the white pieces. I had just taken the rook here after a trade. The final piece is off the board. And I knew that if black took this pawn, I would be able to come forward, and the king would be trying to get around to get this pawn, and I would be able to get to this pawn. And that's what black did. Black took with the pawn. The only two moves that don't lose for black here are king taking this pawn, which means neither one of my pawns can advance without getting chopped off. And I can move to protect one of them, but then I can't protect the other one. Or this way. All kinds of things that black could do here. Black can move this, so when I take, either way. It would end up in a draw. But right here, black took with this pawn. And I knew right then, I'm going to win this endgame. And the reason that I knew that is because that pawn was the only thing stopping this pawn from coming forward. And he can't move this pawn right now. So I come here. And what can black do? They need to try to continue protecting this pawn or go after the other one, but it doesn't really matter. If they go after my pawn over here in order to advance this one, I advance my b pawn. If they try, which they did, they tried to go after my b pawn, well then I can come this way, which I did. The only way for them to get to my b pawn is to come here. So they did that. I pick up this pawn on my way to picking up their g pawn. And there was nothing at that point that black could do. And this pawn can advance. There's no way that the black king can get close enough to it. So a couple of moves. Actually, I think black waited until I promoted and then resigned. And maybe they were hoping I would do something wrong and get them in a stalemate. But once they got to this point, that they resigned. But the cool thing for me was that right here, I knew already, because I've been studying so many endgames, that if they take here, I'm going to have to be really careful to not to draw this endgame, and be careful not to lose. And as soon as they took with the pawn, I knew that I had it for exactly the reason that I showed you. So hopefully that's encouraging for anyone else that's around my level or just a little below or a little above, that with some patient and consistent study and practice, that the improvement will come, and you will start seeing these things. You will begin to count out. And here, like I said, I already knew that they can't move this pawn because of where mine is. I knew that if they tried to come this way to help their g pawn advance, then I can advance my b pawn. I knew that if they went to try to get my b pawn, I can pick up their d pawn on my way to getting the g pawn. And it was a nice feeling to see that as soon as they made the wrong move here. And it also shows why studying endgames is very important. If you ever do get to endgame in a position like this, and black should have taken, they had more than a minute left on the clock. Fortunately, I had nearly 3 minutes, but they could have taken 10 seconds to kind of look at that and count that out and see that these two pawns are necessary where they are. One other thing they could have done was advance the c pawn here, because whether I take or come back, they're able to take care of both of these. But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.